Yo, what it do, brothers? You are now tuned in all that rah-rah with your Hebrew brother, Mylo Judah. What's going on, brothers? So, brothers, I have to, so man, this video honestly is old, but I'm just not getting around to it. But a while back, Stephen A. Smith, he made a statement that Kevin Durant, once he reached the 30,000 point club, that he was a top 10 player. And you know what's crazy? Since about 2015, 2016, Kevin Durant honestly has been my favorite player to watch in the NBA. Yes, even when he blew the 3-1 lead to the Golden State Warriors and abandoned ship and went to Golden State. Because I'm not a fan of men, I appreciate Kevin Durant's game, and I understood how his game would fit in with the Golden State Warriors, even though I understood that the move was soft. He could have went anywhere else. I do understand that. I'm objective. And at the same time, I understand that being a fan of a man will only bring heartbreak, because men are men and they will make decisions that you don't agree with and let you down. And if you are too fanned out, you will start to become a hater. I enjoy watching Kevin Durant more than Steph Curry. I enjoy watching Kevin Durant more than LeBron James, more than Kawhi Leonard, because his game is so pure, right? And he can create off the dribble. He can catch and shoot. If he wants to, he can play low. I do think that he should have gotten stronger over the course of his career and gotten in the weight room more. Because I remember one time Andre Iguodala said that Kevin Durant didn't lift weights, and Kevin Durant took offense to it. But it's I'm not saying he doesn't lift weights. I mean, obviously he lifts weights. But he never put emphasis or emphasized becoming more muscular. Therefore, he can play in the hole. He can post up down low and get busy, right? If Kevin Durant is playing down low, if he's posting up, his shot, for the most part, is going to have to be a fadeaway, unless he's playing someone who's shorter than him, because he doesn't have the strength to back down bigger men. And he does have wiry strength. I have seen him back down guys and, control the post before. But even still, man, that's my guy, bro. But I can't put him in the top 10. Now, what is still highly impressive about Kevin Durant is that he shoots above 50% from the field, and he doesn't drive to the basket as much as he used to when he was younger. So, Kevin Durant's game is primarily based off jump shooting. And for him to shoot above 50%, that shows you just how automatic his game is. And honestly, with the Houston Rockets, if they had a point guard, and if Steven Adams was healthy, they could have went much further than they went. I remember the first game of the season when they went into overtime, or double overtime, I forget exactly which one. But they went into overtime with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Right, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he started off slow. He started to get hot during the fourth quarter and overtime. And I think KD may have only had about 23 points. But I say that to say they had the personnel. They had the defense. They had the scoring. All they needed was a guy to distribute the ball. And that is one of Kevin Durant's weaknesses, is that he's a good playmaker. He's not the best playmaker. I wouldn't call him a great playmaker, but he's a good playmaker. But when double teams come his way, he does have the tendency to turn the ball over. But with that being said, we are going to let Stephen A. Smith talk, and we are going to do some real and rare analysis. Let's get it.
Kevin Durant became just the 8th player in NBA history to notch over 30 1,000 career points. KD dropped 34 for the Suns last night in a loss to the Grizzlies. Bad news for the Suns. They've now lost 6 out of their last 8. Good news, though, for Durant, because he joined some elite company last night, including LeBron James, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Karl Malone, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Dirk Nowitzki, and Wilt Chamberlain. Durant reached the milestone in the exact same number of games as Kareem did it with 1,101. And so here's Durant on joining this exclusive club.
True honor to be in the same category as those players who've helped shape the game and push the game forward. And that's always been my goal, is to get the most out of myself every day and the most out of my career.
Yeah, no doubt. When it comes to the conversation about scoring, yes, Kevin Durant is in that conversation with those guys, hands down. Personally, I have Kevin Durant maybe as a top 5 scorer ever. Some guys have him as the best or top 3. I mean, you can argue it, but personally, me, I would take Michael Jordan as a scorer over Kevin Durant. I would take Wilt Chamberlain as a scorer over Kevin Durant. I'd probably take Kobe Bryant as a scorer over Kevin Durant. So, I mean, that's 3 guys right there. I don't know. I have to think about it. But, yeah, his name definitely belongs in that conversation. I mean, it's an argument that can be made about Dirk Nowitzki. It's an argument that can be made about Larry Bird. I mean, it's some guys who can score. Don't get it twisted. And see, the thing is, with my generation, the millennial generation, and the generation under me, I believe it's Generation Z. Shit, I don't know. But our generation is so caught up on stats and total stats that sometimes they forget to look at impact, and they even forget to look at points per game. Or if the points per game don't fit in their narrative, then they just won't talk about it. See, I understand that Kobe, at the end of his career, he scored around 25 points per game. I don't have the numbers right in front of me. Right, but I also understand that in Kobe's rookie year, he scored about 7 points per game. In his next year, well, it was 11, and then, his scoring started to gradually go up. And as he got older and started to get injured, after he tore his Achilles, he started to score around 17 points per game. So naturally, the points per game is going to fluctuate. Right? Even with Michael Jordan, he averages 30.1 points per game for his career. But if you actually understand Michael Jordan's career and his last 2 years in Washington, then you will understand that, those 22 points per game and those 20 points per game dropped his career points per game average from around 31 or 32 to 30, right? So, and even with that, Michael Jordan is still the all-time leading points per game scorer. That's crazy. But yeah, Kevin Durant definitely is in that conversation. He's a pure scorer. He can score off the dribble. He can ISO, right? His shot, especially when he was younger, it was very hard to block. He's still very efficient. His game is primarily based on jump shooting, and he's still shooting above 50% from the field. A very good three-point shooter, a very good free throw shooter. So, yeah, no doubt, Kevin Durant definitely belongs in that conversation with those names.
Just curious, you got 40K?
I think KD might be a little too injury prone to make it to 40K. I mean, he played 78 games this year, but it costed him in the playoffs. So if he does get 40K, then it would just be based off of him expanding his career to hit 40K. But I don't think it would be a genuine 40K.
How many years you think that'd take? You got to get 2,000 points a year?
Yeah, but then you account for minor injuries and
right?
stuff. So.
I don't know if I can get there, man. That's what makes LeBron's rise to the top pretty special. You stay healthy, you stay consistent.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think LeBron reaching 40K makes him the greatest scorer ever. But I do understand that that's an unbelievable feat and basically impossible. That's why he's the only one who's done it. And that takes longevity, that takes consistency, and that takes a ridiculous amount of health being on your side. So, yes, it's extremely impressive. But even as Kevin Durant said, that's going to take years to accomplish. And also with knick-knack injuries, it's going to be very difficult. So I don't see him doing it unless he extends his career to do it.
So I'm just trying to stay consistent and see what happens, man.
Where do you think Durant ranks among the all-time greats in the NBA?
First off, he's wearing a White Sox cap.
I noticed that. I noticed that. I liked it.
They won 39 games last year.
Can only go up.
I mean, my goodness, I give him credit for picking a White Sox cap.
He's supporting underdog. That's
that's really an underdog, Steve. That's a pathetic team.
That?
But I give him credit for wearing a White Sox cap. You know, Durant's weird because I think right now his public image has been somewhat damaged based on the fact, well, first off, a lot of people so down on him for leaving Oklahoma City to go join the championship team. And then he left OKC. All right, he was having enough trouble with, he wanted to do something on his own, win a title without Curry. But he goes to the Nets with Kyrie, which nobody could figure out. Then he got Atkinson fired, and he was there for whatever it might be. He helped get Atkinson fired. Then he goes to Phoenix.
So Kevin Durant's public image has been tarnished, but it's mostly due to his own doing. The move from Oklahoma City to Golden State was one thing, but that only tarnishes his image with the Oklahoma City fans for the most part, and LeBron James fans, because they understood that him going to Golden State was going to make it extremely difficult for LeBron James to continue winning championships. But besides that, after leaving Golden State, in Golden State, I believe it was his second year. I think that was the year that he initially got caught with the burner account on Twitter. Right, so after that, everyone started to call him soft, and he hasn't made it any better because he continues to go back and forth with individuals on Twitter or X. And, that's his prerogative. If he wants to go back and forth with people, that's up to him. But he has to understand that everyone isn't going to agree with it. And I mean, obviously he doesn't care. But at the same time, he also wants recognition for how great he is. You can't have both of them. Right? I mean, even with LeBron James, to his credit, he doesn't go back and forth with people on social media. He does put narratives out, with Clutch Sports and Nick Wrong and Shannon Sharp, or whatever the case may be. But to his credit, he doesn't go back and forth with people on social media. Now, Kevin Durant's public image, yes, it is tarnished, but it is of his own doing because he wants to be seen in a favorable way. And he tries to go back and forth with people to get that, but you're never going to beat the internet. The internet is undefeated. People say that for a reason. The internet is undefeated. No matter how much logic you come with, no matter how many facts you present, especially on Twitter, there's always going to be some idiot who is going to hit you with an ad hominem, right, or a straw man. So it doesn't really matter what you say. You just have to be secure in your own career, right? And with Kevin Durant going from Oklahoma City to Golden State to Brooklyn to Phoenix to Houston, yes, people are going to talk shit. He has to understand that. But as a basketball player, Kevin Durant's game is elite. His game is pure. And, I will say another thing. People understand how good Kevin Durant was in his prime because post-Achilles, people still expect him to lead a team to a championship. If anybody else would have torn their Achilles, they would not have been expected to lead their team to a championship, because people understand that once you tear your Achilles, your career is basically over. Kobe Bryant was never the same after he tore his Achilles. I believe Isaiah Thomas retired after he tore his Achilles. Dominique Wilkins came back after he tore his Achilles. Jason Tatum, people didn't expect him to come back so early. And even still, he got injured in the playoffs and was forced to sit down. I don't think it was the same leg that he tore his Achilles on, but even still, it's a scare now, right? Because the Boston Celtic organization understands that it can happen again. And even still, they expected him to be a cog. They didn't expect him to lead his team to the championship. That was Jaylen Brown's assignment. They expected Jason Tatum to contribute. But the media and LeBron James fans expect Kevin Durant to lead his team to a championship. I don't expect Kevin Durant to lead his team to a championship. I expect Kevin Durant to be a very important piece, especially post-Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn was the last time that he had the opportunity to lead his team to a championship. But no, Kevin Durant, he's out of his prime. He doesn't jump as high, so he's more prone to getting his shot blocked. He turns the ball over. He's a very good player. Don't get it twisted. He plays great defense at times. He makes great decisions with the ball at times. But Kevin Durant needs to be on a team that he can fit into, not lead.
And they can't get out of their own way. Now, having said all that, he's still is he somewhere in that, he's somewhere between, say, 10 and 15?
I would say he's somewhere between 15 and 20. I don't know about 10 through 15. If we were talking about just talent, yeah, you can say that. If you're just going based off his talent, then yes, he's a top 10 player. But as far as his greatness and his accolades and the things that he were able to accomplish on the court, I would say about 15 through 20, not 10 through 15. And as I stated earlier in the video, Kevin Durant is my guy. So, it is what it is. But I'm objective and I'm honest. I think if Kevin Durant would have won the championship that season, his second season in Brooklyn, when they acquired James Harden, when Kyrie stepped on Giannis Antetokounmpo's foot. Well, honestly, when Giannis stuck his foot up under Kyrie when he was coming down from out that layup, and Kyrie rolled his ankle, and James Harden was already injured. They were beating the brakes off of the Bucks those first two games, and then it got tough after that once James Harden had to come back with his injured hamstring, and Kyrie Irving was out due to that ankle. Kevin Durant did what he could. I mean, he had a 49-point triple-double. In Game 7, I believe he scored upwards of 40 points again. But his big toe was on the line. That's the season that they would have won the championship. They would have beat Phoenix in the finals if Kyrie Irving would have had time to come back and James Harden would have had a little time to rest on that hamstring, because I believe at the Atlanta Hawks made the conference finals that year. So, yeah, that was Kevin Durant's time. But things happen. He wasn't able to get it done, and it is what it is now. It's in the past.
I mean, you have to put the three centers ahead of him, and we can go through this 1,000 times. You got to put LeBron, you got to put Magic, you got to put Bird, you have to put Jordan ahead of him. So that's 6. Tim Duncan has to be ahead of him. So when you think about it, I mean, Duncan's a better player than Durant. So when you think about it, just as overall, you've got 5 championships. So you think about it, I'm not sure if he cracks the top 10. Now, I thought maybe 5-6 years ago he was right there.
Yeah, I agree with that. Everybody that he named, you have to put in front of him. And like he said, 5 or 6 years ago, he was right there. But 5 years ago, that's when his big toe was on the line against the Milwaukee Bucks in the semifinals, right? And they lost that series in 7 games. So, as I stated, that's the series. That's the year, if you ask me, that would have catapulted him into my top 10. He would have went from being top 15 to 20 to top 10 to 15. If he would have won the championship that year, he was forced to lead his team, and he was doing very good at leading his team. It's just some things didn't go his way.
Now I'm not so sure because Monica doesn't like what I'm saying here.
I'm listening. I'm just trying to take it all in.
And I don't know right now if I put him in the top 10. And I think his moves that he's made. I mean, think of the top 10 great all-time players. They're usually not on 4 teams. He's been in Oklahoma City, Golden State, the Nets, Phoenix, and he's probably going to another one. Most of the all-time greats, Kareem, 2 teams. Magic, 1 team. Bird, 1 team. West, 1 team. Oscar, 2 teams. Nowitzki, want to count him, 1 team. Wilt, couple teams. Jordan. Well, I didn't even count the Wizards. 1 team. I mean, when LeBron's been on a lot of teams, but I mean, just 3 different franchises. That's the issue I have with Durant. All-time great, top 15, no question about it. But I do think his image has been damaged a little bit by all the maneuvering.
You're going top 15 player.
Yes.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with Mad Dog. Top 15 through 20. All-time great player, all-time great talent. All the team hopping, though, definitely isn't a good look. If you ask me, I believe Kevin Durant should have stayed in Golden State. Right? Because if him and Steph Curry could have reeled off 2 or 3 more championships, especially after he ruptured his Achilles, I think that would have catapulted him from being a top 15 to top 20 to a top 5 to top 10 player, honestly. And it would have, the narratives of, oh, he just needs Steph Curry to win, it would have been dead by now, because him coming back after a torn Achilles and still being the player that he is, on top of Steph Curry still being there. Klay Thompson got bruised up by that time. Draymond Green has, he's always been a good defender and a facilitator. But for the most part, it would have just been on Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. So they probably would have been known as the best duo ever if they could have won some more championships, especially after Kevin Durant tore his Achilles and Klay Thompson tore his ACL and his Achilles. So, yeah, I think the best move for Kevin Durant, honestly, in hindsight, was to stay in Golden State. But I do understand, a man calling you a bitch. I mean, I think he should have just punched Draymond in his shit, to be honest, and moved on from it. But I do understand you don't want to be in that environment anymore. And plus, he was letting the internet get to his head. As much as Kevin Durant claims to be unbothered, he was letting the internet get to his head and forced him out of Golden State when that was truly the best option for him. The way they play basketball, he could play the 3 through the 5 there. And, it wouldn't have been as much small ball because he's a 7-footer. Yeah, man, that was the best option for him.
Okay. That was a lot, doggy.
I gave you too much there.
No,
It was a lot.
I agree with you. I agree. That was my fault.
I do like, though, that you're having this conversation at top 15, because to me that becomes the bare minimum. There's probably nuances if we have conversations about scoring ability, because we've been talking about this all morning. You don't get into a list of 30,000 points if you are not one of the best scorers that the league has, right?
Agreed, but that's not the argument. The question was, is he a top 10 player of all time, not a top 10 scorer?
But that then begins to isolate. I heard you go Tim Duncan and the rings and the count and the story or the conversation around KD joining the Warriors. To me, though, if we are to isolate scoring, as this award is a scoring acknowledgement, you got to go top 10 in terms of one of the best scorers that this league has ever seen.
Right. But that's not the question. The question is he a top 10 player? Nobody disagrees that Kevin Durant is a top 10 scorer. Anybody who has watched basketball from their childhood up would tell you that Kevin Durant is one of the best scorers that they've ever seen. That's hands down, but that's not what the conversation is about.
Does it at all 3 levels. Terrific, beautiful high release point, terrific jump shooter. Like, just such a challenge to stop when he is locked in. And we saw that in those championship runs in particular, but clearly beyond that, you don't get to this number if you are not one of the best snipers, easy money sniper, that's his handle, that the game has seen.
Well, I'll preface my comments by saying this. I mean, I don't know what you want to take from a clown, because that's what he called me, because he disagreed with something that I said about his leadership skills a few months ago. So,
well, in fairness to Kevin Durant and all the other NBA players, Stephen A., you do be on some clown shit sometimes, a lot of times.
we preface it, what I'm about to say, with that, because I know people are going to bring that up anyway. It will shock them with what I'm about to say. I have no idea why, because I'm an objective viewer, and this is what it is. This is a top 10 player of all time.
No, sir.
This is a top 3 scorer in the history of basketball.
It's an argument there, but the argument can be made for other guys as well. So I can't say it's a definitive argument.
He's that elite. We keep forgetting that he was out the better part of 2 years because of that torn Achilles tendon that he suffered against the Toronto Raptors in the finals when he went down permanently. He was out the entire year. We keep forgetting prior to that in Oklahoma City, he had missed a huge chunk of time because of injuries that he sustained.
No, LeBron James fans forget that. And they purposefully forget it. They try to act like Kevin Durant didn't become a thing until he went to Golden State, which is just so far from the truth. Kevin Durant won an MVP in 2014. And then he went down the next season, in the 2015 season, the 2014-2015 season. And in the 2015-2016 season is when they gave up the 3-1 lead to Golden State. Right, and then in the 2016-2017 season is when he went to Golden State. And people were highly upset because they understood that the power dynamic in the NBA had shifted, because they understood how great Kevin Durant was at that time. People try to say you could have placed anybody in Golden State and they would have still won the championship. But that doesn't make sense. Number one, it's because LeBron James fans were already claiming that he was the greatest ever due to that 3-1 comeback the prior season against Golden State. And I find it pretty ironic that they love to mention how Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love was injured in the 2014-2015 season, but they never bring up how Andrew Bogut, Steph Curry, and Andre Iguodala were injured in the 2015-2016 NBA Finals. But even still, they say that you could have placed anybody on that Golden State team and they would have still won the championship. No, sir. Maybe Kawhi Leonard. But Paul George, I don't think they would have won the championship with Paul George. I think LeBron would have abused Paul George. He's not mentally strong enough. I don't think they would have won the championship with Carmelo Anthony. I think Kevin Durant's game was a perfect fit for Golden State because he didn't need the ball as much. And when he has the ball, especially back then, he was very dynamic with it. But no, LeBron James fans forget that. I understand how great Kevin Durant was and is. But still, with that being said, you have to take into account the things that's happened in his career and place them all into context. And when you do that, he lands somewhere around 15 through 20. He's not a top 10 player. And you have to think about how many players have played in the NBA. And for him to be top 15 through 20, that's great for him. It's no slight, it's no disrespect.
When this brother is on the court, he's a career 27.2 per game scorer. That's 6th all time, behind Jordan, Wilt, Luka, Embiid, and Elgin Baylor.
Yes, nobody can take away his ability to put the ball in the bucket. But for as great as he is and as talented as he is, KD just not nasty enough, man. I watch KD, bro. Like, I watch Kevin Durant. Probably more than I watch anybody else. And it's just certain points in the game where you just expect him to say, man, give me that shit. Give it to me down here. Y'all watch out. Let me back him down. Hit a fadeaway. And let's go back to the other side of the court. But a lot of times, he just get caught watching. And I understand he's on a team with young guys like Alper and Şengün and Amen Thompson. But you have to demand the ball, especially in clutch situations. But, I mean, it is what it is. He is who he is. And, you know, sometimes a guy's mentality is what takes them out of the greatest ever conversation. Because, I mean, can you genuinely say that Kevin Durant isn't supposed to be a better player than Michael Jordan? He has everything Michael Jordan has except the mentality. He can shoot the ball from further. He's taller. So he should be able to block more shots, get more rebounds, get more steals, put the ball in the hoop easier. And he can to an extent. It's how bad does he want it? How bad does he want to win that championship? And a lot of times it's like he's just out there just to hoop. And that's his prerogative. But with that prerogative, that also holds you back from being a top 10 player. It just is what it is.
That's sixth all time. We're looking at 4 NBA scoring titles. Only Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain had more, doggy. We're looking at 2 NBA Finals MVPs. Only Jordan, LeBron, Shaq, Magic, and Tim Duncan had more. This is who we're talking about when we talk about Kevin Durant. A 6'11", 7-footer with a handle, with a perimeter game, with a three-point shot, with a mid-range game, with free throw shooting excellence as well. And we didn't even bring up his defense, which is underrated.
And with all that being said, he only has 2 championships, and they both came with Steph Curry, which is more so why I say he's a top 10 talent rather than a top 10 player. I think you can accurately place him in the top 15 through top 20 and be okay with it. And I think he would be okay with it. But that's pretty much it, brothers. That's all that real and rare analysis. Brothers, don't ever be a fanboy. Right? Because you'll give up your integrity for that shit. And things that you know you see with your own eyes, you'll ignore them. I know Kevin Durant has a tendency to turn the ball over. I know Kevin Durant has the tendency to allow his teammates to take over in situations where he should demand the ball. Right? I understand that Kevin Durant going from Oklahoma City to Golden State wasn't the best thing that he could have done for his image. And then to continue to try to defend himself on Twitter made him look insecure about his decision. Right, and with all that being said, if Kevin Durant would have won that championship in Brooklyn, I think he could have escaped all of the talk about him needing Steph Curry. Or if he would have stayed in Golden State, then it would have became him and Steph Curry needs each other. But he made his own decisions. He's his own man. Right, and whether I agree or disagree with him, that's him. And, you know, brothers, they're fans of players and decisions that the players make. Brothers be like, yeah, man, we did this. Who the fuck is we? How you know him? What number you had? Fuck out of here with that shit. But yeah, brothers, that's it, man. Yo.